Hello and welcome to what is the start of a beautiful day here at Burghley House in Stamford in Lincolnshire. Today we are here for the annual rally and concours d'elegance of the Rolls-Royce Enthusiast Club, and we're expecting 600 cars, probably about 3,000 visitors, and we have 40 traders. So without further ado, let's take a look around and see what they've got in store for us. Last week marked the centenary of Bentley's first ever win at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and it just so happened that last weekend was also the 24 Hours of Le Mans, only the 101st. Now, that means that Bentley won the second ever 24 Hours of Le Mans, and that was on the 14th to the 15th of June 1924 in a car not too dissimilar to this Bentley 3-litre Speed. This one, it is not as museum kept as it may seem. Now, it is known that this car has gone around to Goodwood Circuit, Silverstone, along with many others, being raced hard just as it was back in the day. This car has been driven by its owner's two daughters since he became a little bit older, and I say it has been kept in remarkable shape for something that is as well used as this one really is. Well, many of you will know who I'm with right now. I'm with the lovely Nigel Sandell and his lovely 2530. Would you like to tell us a little about it?
Okay, yeah, so this is from 1936 and the coach builder is Park Ward. It was sold new to the captain of a ship and he actually took delivery of it in February 1937. And we have it on reasonable authority that he had it in these colours to match his ship.
Well, it looks like it was some form of battleship to me.
Yeah, no, well, we don't know. We know he was the captain of a ship, that's all we know. Unfortunately, I wasn't around in 1936 when it was made.
What kind of state was it in when it came to you?
It had been part restored by another Rolls-Royce and Bentley specialist, and then when we've had an association with the car for about 18 odd years, and then when this chap, unfortunately, he was 91, he had COVID and he died, I ended up then buying the car off of his daughter and then carried on the restoration. So it's taken me about 2 years to get it to this like concours winning standard, if that makes sense. And this car was top 4 at this rally last year, and we're in what they call a master class this year, if that makes sense.
Well, as it should be by the looks of it. The rear divide, is that, so it's a chauffeur car then?
Yeah, so again, the kneeling spirit of XC was the sort of end of like chauffeur, owner driver, if that makes sense. But it's called a touring limousine. So basically you could sit in the back section and you could have a private conversation without your chauffeur hearing basically what you were saying, if that makes sense.
Well, thank you for showing me around it.
That's fine.
I suppose I'd better move on to the rest of the show.
Yeah, no problem. Lovely to see you and enjoy the rest of the rally.
As it happens, Bentley isn't the only one with an anniversary this year. It also just so happens to be 120 years since a certain Charles Rolls and Henry Royce met at a hotel in Manchester, founding of a certain company called Rolls-Royce Motor Cars. Now, what better way to celebrate than by taking a look at this beautiful 1933 Rolls-Royce Phantom II that was found in a field and took 5 years and many thousands of pounds to be restored as beautifully as it is seen here today. It's been given a lovely boat tail finish, finished in Rolls-Royce Regal Red and powered by an enormous 27-litre Merlin V12, putting out 860 horsepower and propelling this thing to a limited 135 mile an hour top speed. Now, I imagine it could probably go quite a bit faster, but you wouldn't quite want to without a parachute or, at the very least, some wider tyres to keep this thing at bay. Now, I am here with Rhiannon current owner of this absolutely wonderful machine behind her. Would you like to tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, of course. She was commissioned by then Captain Broomhall for his 21st birthday. Lucky devil, because he became given the role of captain. He was a stickler for symmetry, but first and foremost, he was a stickler for speed. So he wanted a car that would see off the latest 3-litre Bentley and the Hispano-Suiza, and also to be able to do hill climbs. You've got the rear spare wheels. There are 2 of them instead of 1. They're set back and low for aerodynamic. The number plates even got symmetry, and the KK is to do with the barracks where he was in Kent. All the electrics are done by Cav, not Lucas. The metalwork, it ain't chrome. It's all silver plate, every last bit of it. The dashboard, which is brushed aluminium, the original. All the instruments he commissioned separately from Rolls-Royce. So there's bonnets gone, there's all sorts in there. On the petrol tank, she has a side fuel filler because Colonel Broomhall didn't want to have to bother taking his luggage off to refill. Ta-da! And that was taken on by the Phantoms. There are so many features on this car that were so pioneering that they were taken on by other marques down the line. When Colonel Broomhall took hold of the car, he'd done a test drive in it before and was very delighted with it. Said it went extremely fast. And that is the first Claude Johnson knew anything about it, because it had been done in secret. All the bill cards say top secret on it. Special attention to power and speed. Needless to say, when Claude Johnson found out about it, he was a little bit furious. He held a special board meeting saying, never again will the silkiness of a Rolls-Royce be compromised for power and speed. If you try to get anybody to commission one or you see one through, you'll get sacked because you will no longer be a member of friendship of the company. This is the only one.
Now, you may see what I'm standing next to and think, that is a lovely Rolls-Royce Shadow 2. And you'd be right, except this one is a little more modern than you might have originally thought. See, it has been electrically reimagined by this lovely company called EVICE. What they've done is they've taken out the original drivetrain, so no more combustion engine, drive shaft, differential or fuel tank, and they've replaced them with batteries in the engine compartment, where the fuel tank was, and if you opt for the extended range model, some in the boot. Now, of course, these had a massive boot to begin with, as most cars of their age did, so I don't think you'll be missing too much there. Now, the next biggest change is actually on the inside. I've been told that they're going to integrate an infotainment system, albeit one that can be very easily hidden away at the push of a button, should you not want to see it. I've also been told they're redesigning the interior from a more modern perspective, though I'm assured it will reflect the original design philosophy of Rolls-Royces of this era, but also reflect some of the elements incorporated into later models throughout the years. It's all blanketed off now, so I can't see inside, but I'm assured it will be great, and I expect nothing but improvements to come. You may have noticed that I'm standing next to another Silver Shadow, although this time a Silver Shadow 1, sure. However, you may have also noticed that this is not your standard Silver Shadow. This one, in fact, has been converted into an estate. This particular example used to belong to a South African game reserve where it was modified to help guests better cope with the heated climate out there. The AC system was upgraded and a sunroof was installed to get a little bit more air to the guests, though the estate option was fitted as well, which is a rather strange option until you consider that perhaps it was used to carry some of the hunting supplies that hunters of the time may have used. This was restored in the late 80s and early 90s, and it presents even today in remarkable shape, considering that even that restoration was 30 to 40 years ago. The fitting of the estate body itself looks relatively good, especially for its time. You will notice some small gaps and some mismatching of body panels, but still, I think this comes together really well as an all-around product. We've had fast estates for a long time now. I think this may be the most luxurious estate that was never built. And that about does it for my coverage of the Rolls-Royce Enthusiast Club's Concours d'Elegance and Rally 2024. Thank you to the lovely people who work here for hosting me. Thank you to my interviewees for letting me take up their time. And last but not least, thank you, kind viewer, for spending the last 10 minutes watching me talk about this. And what better way to end than with a running of, I'm not sure if you could just see it behind me, but arguably the most famous device Rolls-Royce has ever put together, the wonderful Merlin engine. Just take a listen to that. thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you very soon. Many thousands of pounds later, this beauty was born. Words, words, words.